Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2025 CCS Spring Season. The Southland Conference Tournament Final is here, presented by yours truly with Godspeed and Texas Prospect Cup as two leading sponsors this season at the Collegiate Conference Series, joined by co-owner Wolfie of those two companies. You got the Southland Conference Final. UTRGV takes on undefeated Stephen F. Austin. Well, you know, Cinderella likes to keep her shoes alive on in March, and it's the last day of March here, which means upsets can still happen, as they were able to upset 2 seeds Southeast Louisiana a couple nights ago. I think it actually might have been last night. They pulled that one out in Game 6. Now they take on, again, the unbeaten Lumberjacks from Stephen F. Austin, which is going to be a tall order tonight. Absolutely, and you know the Lumberjacks have one thing on their mind, Wolfie, and that's a Southland Conference Tournament Final championship and a bid for the CCS championships beginning in 2 weeks. They want to see their name pulled in the selection show next week, and they've got one thing on their mind: a trip to the tournament.
Let's go get a trophy at the end of this. Nation, I think these boys have been really showing that they deserve to, but what's something that Stephen F. Austin is really going to be looking to really capitalize here tonight?
Number one, you know, they're undefeated. That's the first, order here for SFA. You're undefeated. You've got that going for you. I mean, looking at the season series of these two programs, UTRGV lost 3-0 and 3-1 in both of those sets. UTRGV picked up 2 wins over Nicole State and split the season series with Southeast Louisiana. Then advanced to 4-3 last night with a win over Southeast Louisiana. So they're 4-3 on the conference regular season schedule, Wolfie, and now you got one more game to go to punch a ticket to the tournament.
One more to go, and I think for UTRGV, I'm looking at Lettuce to really see himself take that leading role here tonight. Look for him to really try to get the mechanics here and allow for Rising Drift to really set himself up for some easy shots. But it's going to be interesting to see, Stephen F. Austin's offense. And for the first jump in this first series, I'm looking for game number 1 and see how UTRGV really plays with that. At the pace of Stephen F. Austin, that's when he's going to be the outlier if they're going to be able to hang, especially when we look at how the previous couple games have been going in. But this is where I have to see how their adjustment period has been going through. I know Lettuce has been grinding tons off the pitch here so far, so it's going to be interesting to see how everyone really looks to adapt in here. But the boys in purple, they're looking strong. I'm just saying, at least take this to a full series and not let it be a tweet.
We'll have to wait and see what occurs in the pitch tonight. We'll view it again. These two programs competed in the WAC last season, and realignment came around. They both moved to the Southland Conference this school year. Now they're here competing in CCS in the Southland, and both these programs will be their first trip to the CCS championships program history with a win.
And I think for both these two schools, knowing that this is where they've been able to get to, it's one where Stephen F. Austin is looking to really play spoiler here tonight, and I think they kind of have that and saying, hey, let's just go out there, let's be lax, let's really allow ourselves to just play our game. But for UTRGV, I'm looking for this first game. This first game, if you can find a way to sneak this one, all bets are off. Everybody put your money on Orange, as UTRGV is going to look to have a hot start. But Nation, have you seen these two teams, or at least Stephen F. Austin, at all throughout the regular season?
I've watched SFA play. I have not watched GTRGV, and this SFA team is fun to watch. I did watch them lose. They did not win when I watched them play. It was a non-conference game. They dropped it earlier on in the season. So
I apologize, Nation. One second.
But we're going to go ahead and get down into the field for game one. As the Southland Conference Tournament Final ready to get underway, the Vaqueros of UTRGV take on one-seeded, undefeated, the Lumberjacks from Stephen F. Austin. See, players are ready to go. And Wolfie, the series is along the line, a ticket to the CCS Spring Championships here in 2025, our 5th season. Both these teams looking to get a first ever bid for the CCS Championships this spring with a win tonight. And again, a best of 7, first to 4 will be crowned the Southland Tournament Tournament champion.
Well, I'm back, and the action continues. And, first 30 seconds here, I'm interested to see, Nation, from, not being able to see the kickoff and how well this team is able to come out. We said Stephen F. Austin is a fun team to watch. A big save coming in from Lettuce, showing the mean green machine there.
First 40 seconds. It's got to be good defense for UTRGV. They know what kind of the offense they're going to deal with tonight for Stephen F. Austin. So again, if you're going to win a series like this where SFA is undefeated, you got to find a way to play good defense and hold off their fast breaks on offense.
And interesting enough here, this is where I'm looking for UTRGV to catch this offense out of place, looking for them to be a little too over-aggressive and allow themselves really find ways to capitalize that open room. But, so far, UTRGV doing a heck of a job of keeping this ball off their half, have been winning a 50 game. Drift down low off the crossbar, won't be able to go. UTRGV, the Vaqueros, look to redo that one.
The Vaqueros' first chance is no good. A second chance also turned away. Blast keeps the Lumberjacks unscathed. Wolfie with a solid start for the offense of UTRGV.
I'm going to have to give it up to all the training these two have done. Rising Drift and Lettuce, they saw themselves going to start competing in another league here that Godspeed has started sponsoring as well. But, they have seen themselves start really going at some high-level competition, and I think it's really paid off in dividends. They are playing one of the best Rocket League I've seen them play in such a quite long time. I'm just surprised they haven't scored yet. Look for Stephen F. Austin to try to see that first goal go through their net.
We'll have to wait and see who can strike first in this year's Southland Tournament Final. But again, it's going to be a long night, I think, Wolfie. I think there's a chance we could see an extended series here with how things have opened up. But again, the past has favored the Lumberjacks in fairly controlled series and a sweep and a 4-game victory. So we'll see if the underdogs can make something happen tonight.
I'm just surprised right now. It just seems that Stephen F. Austin is a bit jumpy right now. When the pressure is on, you're starting to see it really bogging down into their heads. UTRGV just needs to find ways to get right back to the opposition side. Look for them to continue being the aggressors in this series so far. But 2.5 minutes into it, we find ourselves in the second half of action. Rising Drift down low off the crossbar, won't be able to go. Counterattack coming in here. Stephen F. Austin trying to throw it through. Wow, last touch. Blast, able to see it go.
And the defense, just complete discombobulation, couldn't make the save, and a couple of side flips that lost control of the play, and 2:02 to play. It's a 1-0 Lumberjack lead.
Well, what more can you ask for besides continue throwing the effort? And for UTRGV, you give up that goal there, but you saw yourself kind of dominating the pressure for, what was it, around 60 seconds. Get back to that. Don't allow this one goal to really get into the mindset of saying, hey, we need to change things. No, go back to what you've been doing. Just try to see if you can allow that crossbar to work to your favor.
Well, UTRGV said a couple of crossbar touches already denied, so you got to find a way to put those chances through for a goal. And another one, good look there, taken away by Lettuce. This defense has been a brick wall majority of the night, but again, the mishap led to that early goal, and I think you got to clean that up, and well, maybe your offense can give you a chance to win this.
You know, Lettuce assigned to come into the season was going to see himself hang things up and say, I think my collegiate career is done. But, you know, he said, hey, for this last season, my last semester of school, I'm going to come in and represent UTRGV. And he's saying, I am not letting ourselves lead without at least some hardware. And this one kept off towards mid, 60 seconds remaining. Stephen F. Austin right now currently leading.
The Lumberjacks a minute away from being 3 games away from the tournament for the first time ever. 50 to go. That was Blast and crew. Wolfie have done a stellar job early on here in the first 5 minutes. Game 1 has been a nose fight so far.
Oh, you see the goal trying to come here for UTRGV. Just have not been able to see anything hit. Good touch there. Just was not able to get too much. The offense right now seems to have stagnated. Rising Drift won't be able to get good enough touch there. Won't be able to leave this. Both of them go for it there. Double commit won't be able to go towards the Vaquero side.
20 seconds. Play in the UTRGV side here. These last 15 seconds got to be pivotal on the UTRGV offense. A shot there to the corner won't sail through. Jacobs a big save. Keeps the Lumberjacks unscathed. One last effort here also turned away. And that should wrap things up for game 1.
Hey, this is where I don't like talking about consolation prizes, but you know what a chance here by UTRGV. This one I know ended at a 2-0, but it could potentially have gone to overtime at a 1-1 at any point. But you know, you can't look at that. You just have to say we look next. But I think the horizon for UTRGV is looking quite positive.
I would agree, but I think you got to turn in your give and goes that you created earlier. I mean, when your offense creates those chances in pivotal moments at the start of the game to take a lead, I mean, you got to turn those in.
And good teams know how to do it, and better teams know how to keep those shots away. And Stephen F. Austin was just the better team there in series number 1. They knew how to hold on. Even through the fire, they decided not to get burnt. They said, hey, it's heating up here in the kitchen, but we know how to handle it. Great job here from Stephen F. Austin to be able to come out and get the job done. But now for UTRGV, play the spoiler. Stephen F. Austin is doing exactly what they're supposed to be. UTRGV is not supposed to be doing them this well, and I think for them, that's where it plays to their advantage.
I would agree with that. Again, looking back at game 1, I mean, UTRGV got burned in transition. So, I mean, if you can clean up your defensive transitions, I mean, you could be set if your offense can at least contend with the speed of Stephen F. Austin.
And I think for this one, I know it may sound obvious, but UTRGV needs to score first. Put the pressure on Stephen F. Austin and say, hey, we're here to play, and we're here to get going. Game number 2 of the series, double demo for game 2.
Jack, an early double attempt there, broken up by Rising Drift. The Lumberjacks will start game 2 in orange territory. There's a beautiful transition clear, and now the Vaqueros will got to find a way to make a statement offensively and find their first goal of the night.
And this is where I'm really looking for the Rising Drift, the hoops main. You know, very proud of that for himself. And you know, I want to see him get a huge shot going in. Look for him to get the offense going here, especially early. Lettuce is going to set him up and try to see himself get a big demo off the off chance. But this is where Stephen F. Austin trying to capitalize on what they did well in that first game. And that's taking to UTRGV and catch him bad in transition. This one cats him through. Jack says, here you go.
4:17 to play in Blast. Gets by 2. Lettuce, a miss in the back wall, and a bad touch from Smiley. Sets up the open net 1-0, a 3-0 Lumberjack run.
If you're listening, UTRGV, settle down. Do not get shaky here. And this is where I'm looking for Lettuce's confidence to play that through. A very good job for himself of allowing his team not to worry about too much, but nobody will boost. That's where the Rising Drift had to capitalize, either grabbing pads or getting full boost to try to go for a retaliation play on the second touch.
First minute gone by the wayside here. The Lumberjacks, an early lead in game 2 as the Vaqueros offense has been stagnant. Wolf, here's a second for the Lumberjacks, 2-0.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate there for the offense. Lettuce in a tough situation. Nobody expected that touch, and the defense just paid dividends. 2-0. You see the score here starting to open up. Can the floodgates get closed?
That was a slot there from the left wing, and makes it 2-0. 1:15 gone in game two. The Vaqueros, a 4-0 run for the Lumberjacks is Stephen F. Austin, and the Vaquero offense still has not woken up since the early part of game one.
No, but hey, V's up here for UTRGV, and this is where the Vaqueros right now trying to show that team spirit. But you have to start communicating a bit more. They seem lost. They're seeing that they're trying to play keep away from Stephen F. Austin, but they're not doing it in a way where they're able to continue on the pressure as they continue to be the one on the back foot.
Vaqueros are going to make this upset happen. I mean, again, we talk about playing with Cinderella in mind and pulling off a big upset as such as this one would be. I mean, again, you've got to go above and beyond. You can't upset somebody playing at your true level of skill. You got to play a little bit better in these difficult games, and I'm sure they know that. But right now, things have turned heavily against them. They got to find a way to turn the tide.
Yeah, we've talked about a Cinderella story, but right now they're just Sleeping Beauty. Just their offense has not waken up, like you've said. They're going to have to change things, but one goal could really do it. As Baby Smiley could not grab the pass there, had 80 boost. I don't know if he just was not able to read it, or maybe have just thought, hey, my teammates don't have enough to go on from here.
Halftime in game number two, still a 2-0 lead for the Lumberjacks. Here is the Vaqueros, still nothing on the scoreboard tonight so far through 7.5 minutes. Almost an eighth. They're off a dunk. The save is made for Letitz. Rebound is off, though, turned away by Letitz. A big stand to keep this game within 2.
Got to do it now, boys. 2 minutes, 2 goals. Will that be too much time here? But Stephen F. Austin, the offense trying to get through, will be cut away. This one will be left mid, but nobody there for the Vaqueros have enough boost to do anything for that. That's just going to now roll to the corner and waste even more time.
Minute 45 to play. Stephen F. Austin going to look to crash the boards here. Maybe a chance for a third of the game. Nothing there. Those Rising Drift will hold off the possession for now, but play still continuing in orange territory. Demo in the far side gets the Vaqueros to space.
Look, this is where I'm going to need my favorite twos partner in the Rising Drift to come up and come alive. And, it's going to be tough here, especially with time not remaining. But for this series, you cannot allow it to get to a point where you're saying, hey, let's get a reverse sweep here. That's when you are in dire situation of a miracle. But you have to show skill. But right now, nobody for UTRGV with any boost, and that just seems to be the main story we can continue to harp on.
SFA about to be 2 games away from a tournament championship in a bid of the tournament, but 1 minute to go. They can hold on tight to a 2-0 lead. They'll be 2 games away, but UTRGV still a little bit of time to work with. Down by as much as 2, but this offense has been scoreless now for 9 minutes. That's a bad sign going forward.
I believe that we will win, but right now, belief is the only thing really rolling us through, the only gas in the chamber, the copium, as Jay will be able to, Baby Smiley, able to put a small grin there as it clears.
30 seconds to go, maybe a chance here for Lettuce in the corner. He finds a Demo, but not on top of the ball in time as the offense has been broken out back to midfield. Now we're back across purple territory. 15 to play. This clock ticking down perfectly in SFA's favor.
That last touch when the offense started generating, you saw the Rising Drift miss that mid boost, and that's what allowed them to continue hammering things home there. Unfortunate for UTRGV, give up the 3rd goal, but one more than last game. We'll just continue saying one more on the win column.
5-0 perfect run so far for the Lumberjacks. UTRGV still looking for that first offensive goal. Maybe here for Smiley. Back for Lettuce. A shot won't go. That'll do it for game 2.
All right. Well, hey, you got punched in the face there, Vaqueros. Get back on your high horse and say, hey, let's get on going. We need to find a way to change this. And nation, it's going to be a whole 180. You have to throw the playbook out and just say, go. We cannot allow ourselves any longer to pigeonhole ourselves.
Vaquero started last night down 2-1 and came back and won 3 in a row to knock off the Lions of Southeast Louisiana. So maybe all hope hasn't been lost yet. Game 3.
So you're saying they're
gotta have a better game.
saying there's a chance, and you said 2-1, so this is where the Vaqueros, the internet died. No, it had not for the Vaqueros right now. This is where he's saying Spectrum, we're on fiber right now. This is where we're going to see ourselves just take a big leap.
Game 3, you need a bigger game here for GTRGV, as things have not been great the first 10 minutes. Hopefully, what has to change? And they're going to go for a substitution here.
Right. I said D-Flow's name earlier. It looked like Baby Smiley was the original starter. But, hey, D-Flow, we're talking about the floodgates opening. It's time to start to let the water drip in here.
We'll see if a substitution can affect the outcome here in Game 3 and give the Vaqueros some life on the opposite side of this series where they've been quiet. The defense has been tested. They've held up decently well, but not enough to really handle the pressure of the Lumberjack offense so far. But these last 10 minutes, they can forget about them and move on to the next 20 to win this series.
I'm going to look for a Turbo Pulsar type of performance here from D-Flow. Just come in here the sub spot. Look for him to be the game changer. A new look here for the Vaqueros might be what they need. As Lettuce not going for that touch there, potentially deciding to rotate his way back. Will be able to lead things on here as the first man. Shot on will be cut away as UTRGV trying to mount something, but won't be able to get a touch they were hoping for.
A 2-0 lead. Will the Lumberjacks make it 1-0 in game number 3? 53 seconds. That's a 6-0 run for the Lumberjacks.
That's a tough one there. Just slots it right through, and the bump right on point. Great job there of finding the man and giving him the open space.
Well, 1-0 lead now, back in favor of Stephen F. Austin as UTRGV will be something's got to turn. The tides have to change here, and they need this offense to wake up soon.
Hey, this is where you said, hey, it flooded here at UTRGV the other day, and you have to say, let's try to see if we can flood it with goals right now. But no, one is all they're hoping for. They just need to be able to take that and say, we finally cracked it. We know we can get through the defense of SFA. It hasn't happened yet, but we're getting there. And let us say, put some croutons on it.
Well, there's one. They leveled the game for the first time since the opening kickoff at any point in this series. 3:35 to go. The Vaqueros back to level.
Hey, this is where we know we needed to be. Big demo. Blast will just take it. Actually just fakes this one out. Passing play potentially will just get cut away as Lettuce going to try to continue generating something here.
3:22 to go. Stephen F. Austin trying to get back out of their own zone, and that will do there with a clear. 3:15. This clock still, I believe, favors the Lumberjacks. Hit a big save. Keeps UTRGV at level.
That's where I would have liked D-Flow to play a little bit more patient going into that touch, potentially grab that full boost, then go in for it. But now this team finds themselves on defense 3 minutes into it. Good job here in the first 2 minutes, but they need to find that difference right now. They have to find a way to crack through. Big demo. That's going to allow them to at least reset as Lettuce. Big clear. No one home. And the Rising Drift says, thank you, buddy. I'm taking it for myself.
And the first lead of the series in Game 3, 2:47, will be it's a 2-0 Vaquero run.
I think this team is starting to feel it. Lettuce right now, you're starting to see them pick up a little bit more on the offensive side. Getting the overcommits on the offense here from SFA. This is where we saw them a bit. Starting to get a little too greedy, but that one coming in quick.
Jacobs can deliver a second to level things back up again from midfield. Finds it straight over the Rising Drift and D-Flow. 2-2 with 2:39 to play.
Oh, what a chance right now for UTRGV. That was one where you're hoping to hold on to the lead for just a little bit longer, but you have to just say, hey, at least we're tied here. Reset this game. Let's get ourselves going. And a missed touch there. Not much boost here for anyone there for UTRGV. Will get snagged in the backfield. Lettuce can't get the touch, but faking for Rising Drift could not get there quick enough.
Jacobs from midfield here, going to look for a flip reset, goes under, no good, or almost an own goal. Lettuce able to recover some pressure there. 2:10 to play in the Vaquero defense. Almost gives up an easy one.
Yeah, that one was you held your breath and have to just say, let's hope we don't get hurt here. This is just going to allow for the rising drift to reset back at the corner, grab full boost. But this offense right now have to find a way to generate something where you're throwing off the defense. Get a demo, get a bump, something to give yourself some more time to just look at this offense to make the game a little slower for you.
140 play in regulation. The Vaqueros level with SFA, but SFA delivering a third as a 2-0 Lumberjack run. 137 to go. It's a 1-goal lead.
All right, there. Somebody has to go after him for UTRGV. 2 right in the vicinity, but just got caught watching. Unfortunate. You just got to react a little quicker. 137. It just seems like that's where UTRGV is right now. You're just one step too slow, but try to find a way to at least throw them off the way you have been for the last 2 goals.
Depot off the ceiling, couldn't find a connection. Rising Drift fires, no good. Left alone now, back for Lettuce. 50, back to midfield. Rising Drift might have a chance, back for Lettuce. The snapshot, no good. And it's a little high and wide. 1:15 to play. The Vaqueros with 2 chances, come away with nothing.
Oh man, that's when it was where we were talking about finally getting something. That was everything and anything they needed. And unfortunately, just nothing there on the touch. That's just going to put them now at a 2-goal lead.
Yeah, you got to be able to put those goals away. If you're UTRGV, you create those chances in the midfield and come up short again twice, and you can't have that in a game like this.
No, not at all. And, unfortunately for UTRGV, just looking to try to just take this one on the chin here in Game 3, where you kind of saw yourself open up the best offense you've had in 2 goals. Stephen F. Austin came out and they did 1 more than they were in that last game. That's what the story has been so far. Game 1 got 2, Game 2 got 3, and now in Game 3, you get in 4. UTRGV, last couple seconds, trying to make it interesting. D-Flow can't slot it.
Gotta put these goals away when you get pivotal chances in late moments in this series. 30 to play. The SFA defense trying to hold off the Vaqueros offense one last time. Maybe a chance here. Lettuce could put that one through. Still a 2-goal difference.
Look, this is a 2-goal difference that maybe you're trying to say, let's just end this with 1 more. And for UTRGV, any way you can chalk this up to a good loss is a tough one. You can say those 2 goals was some good improvement, but when we look at the series overall all season long, UTRGV has not had the benefit of the doubt, but this is where stories are made, and I think UTRGV just wanted to make this one interesting.
Wanted to a reverse sweep attempt will be for
reverse sweep. I'm calling it.
They got to win 4 in a row, and they got to be perfect now the rest of the way.
Look, like I said, this is my backyard right here for UTRGV. I will pull a diploma off my wall and just wear it around my neck if it brings some luck at all. But this is where I believe the Rising Drift has left. I wonder if Baby Smiley 13, are we going to see another switch here? And this is where I'm interested to see if UTRGV is deciding to go with a different lineup, or are we going to see something similar? I don't mind anything as long as it's an improvement.
We'll wait and see if it's an improvement or not. Is now Stephen F. Austin 1 win away in their first ever trip to the CCS Championships.
So I'm not surprised Lettuce stayed in here and sees himself as the highest rank at UTRGV. So this is where he sees himself trying to continue commanding this group. But UTRGV, all bets are off. This is where you need your biggest series so far.
The Vaqueros season on the line. Need to win 4 in a row. Is SFA a double? Is good from Jacobs.
That's disgusting. Great job there by Jacobs. Just took the breath away, and hopefully not the soul of UTRGV. D-Flow just in an awkward position. Baby Smiley a little slow there on the rotation back, but not much you really can ask for besides just got to lock in a little bit more here.
Again, you made it this far to a conference tournament final and a win away from the CCS championships, and they're gonna might have one more chance this summer if they return, and we'll get a couple more chances to play one-on-one at SFA as Flash delivers a shot, wouldn't fall. There's a defense. We'll clean it up for now. The first minute almost gone. Still 1-0 favoring the Jacks.
Oh man, seeing this team play right now, just in general, makes me want to just go back to school. Just say, hey, I'll get a second degree. Why not? So I can suit up again for UTRGV and see if we can get ourselves here. But this is great. The fact that this school is, I know I'm not talking about consolation prizes, but the school from last season to this season is showing that it's just been a worlds away. But I'm looking for them to at least take one game in this series. Don't allow for yourself to show the brooms coming out. Show yourself at least get a respectable gentleman's sweep.
Wait and see, and again, in terms of the road of eligibility, Wolfie, I don't know if you'd have eligibility left to compete or not.
No, probably not, but we'll have to check the rule books. We'll have to check what it looks like. But right now, UTRGV, anything has to be a goal here in the next minute and a half. You don't want to allow this game to continue going on because Jackson and get going and put a goal right on you.
The double off the corner there sets up the pass, and it's Jacobs again, finding key touches in big moments. The Lumberjacks leading 3:22 to go.
Well, they just continue stacking up the wood, and the higher the wall gets right now for UTRGV. I don't know if they can get a horse tall enough to look over it, but with every wall has to come down. Vaqueros, you have 3 minutes to figure out a way.
Goodness.
But Blast says it's going to take it a little bit higher.
And they're connecting on every single double they've gone for in this game, and Blast puts a third one away to the far side, 3-12, and I think the Lumberjacks can start to feel it a little bit.
I'm starting to feel it up here in the booth right now, and for UTRGV, this just hurts watching. And a team that played so well in game number 1, and that could have potentially been their series if a couple balls just found itself going through. And you playing the what if game and saying, dang, if they took that first game, would this series have changed at all? Maybe not, but at the very least, UTRGV right now is starting to really try to change the tide. Look for them to try to see themselves just pick up the pace here and just throw the offense at the wall and say, we'll see what sticks.
The problem is SFA's defense has been so quick in rotation and in transition that it can't break through the press. They might have a break here, though. Lettuce can't get back to this ball in time. The defense ready to roll again for the Lumberjacks, and 2.5 to play. It's halftime in game 4. The Lumberjacks trying to get the job done with 2.5 to go.
So where I need Lettuce to evolve into Spinach right here and just say, hey, it's time for me to be Popeye and just be indestructible. But this is what Jack has been, continues to hammer things away. 4 rows. Stephen F. Austin, they went from having access to chainsaws right now.
And SFA out of East Texas, and ETRGV down in Southern Texas, and out in the Valley is 2:13 to play, Wolfie. I mean, what's gone wrong tonight for the Vaqueros?
I'm gonna. A lot's gone wrong. It's just tough. It's where you really haven't even seen enough to really say what's gone wrong. Stephen F. Austin has just kept them at such a bay where you haven't really seen them play their style of Rocket League here so far. The offense has been just taken down. It's been taken aback. They've been catching them out in little positions like that, but it hasn't been fruitful enough for them to really get it going. But second place isn't always the worst, but UTRGV can't get one more goal. No, they can't. I'm looking for at least one goal. Don't allow the goose egg to stay up there.
That was a chance, but you got to put it away. Jacobs finding another double. Couldn't connect there. Jack missing its open touch. Now Lettuce in transition. Turned away. 1:21 to play. 80 seconds to go in what could be the last game of the Vaqueros season in CCS Season 5 is SFA. I mean, again, a minute away. They can start to feel it. The victory lap starting to begin.
Yeah, the victory lap's going, but this one has felt like a marathon. They've been able to go through it. UTRGV right now, we're at least hoping to have a couple more games here, but 4 games is what they got here in the championship. What you look for a growing program is you can't always get it so early. Sometimes you need to have the growing pains, and this team at least now knows what it means to be in a championship game.
They're going to know what it takes to come back in the summer and find a way to compete with this SFA squad for a Southland final and a chance to go to the tournament. But 30 seconds left, and the victory lap has already begun as we're nearing the final turn. Is these last 30 seconds, it's been what it's been for UTRGV, but what a season it was for the Vaqueros. Wolfie, I mean, still a heck of a job getting this far.
A heck of a, and you know what? This is where I'm taking sole responsibility now for the next couple of years, or at least next couple of months, for the development of the Rocket League scene in the RGV as a total. I'm starting to throw some more events down there, Rocket League Online specific, LAN specific. So, maybe that's going to be the difference. They're going to have more chances to grind, especially against the community. Maybe that right there is going to help them, give them the tools they need, especially with the upcoming one coming up April 18th, Nation. So, UTRGV, I can't get one more. It was right there. It was right there.
Well, the clock will hit 0. The ball touches the ground, and the Lumberjacks is Stephen F. Austin, our 2025 CCS Season 5 Spring Southland Conference Tournament champions.
Yeah, they got a heck of a job to Stephen F. Austin. This team came in, they dominated, they did exactly what they were supposed to. But UTRGV, do not put your head down. Y'all go next. And, I'll see them very soon, Nation. This is a team which I think they were hoping for a better performance tonight. But they played, I think, enough to say we know where we need to be at now.
That they do. Well, Stephen F. Austin's season will live on for one more best of 7 in 2 weeks. As we'll find out next week on Wednesday where the Lumberjacks will draw in the field of 64 and who they'll take on in round 1.
Well, hopefully we can see a little bit more of that in the next couple of weeks. But, for UTRGV, I'm going to give them a big shout out. Heck of a job here. I know the entire university is proud of what they were able to come out here to do. And, from a fellow student or a former student, I have to make sure I plug them and give them all the love they potentially could deserve.
Absolutely. What a season it was for the UTRGV Vaqueros in CCS Season 5. We'll hopefully see them back this summer for Season 6. But anyways, we'll see you guys later. So long from the Southland Tournament.